For thousands of years, the world has celebrated Pythagoras as a mathematician, but what if the man behind the triangle theorem was far more mysterious? What if his true teachings were hidden, locked away in secret brotherhoods, and coded in symbols, and passed down only to those deemed worthy? This is the story of Pythagoras, not the school version, but the man whose ideas shaped secret societies, ancient temples, mystical traditions, and the very structure of the universe. Welcome to the secret teachings of Pythagoras. The truth is simple: Pythagoras was never just a mathematician. He was a spiritual teacher, a mystic, and the founder of one of the most secretive brotherhoods in ancient history. His followers didn't just study math in the way we think of it today. They studied the universe, the soul, reincarnation, the harmony of the cosmos, and the hidden laws of creation. To even enter his school, prospective students had to take a vow of silence for 5 years. Pythagoras believed that true wisdom came not from speaking, but from listening. He was training them to hear the subtle voice of the universe itself. One of his most powerful and mind-bending teachings was the idea that everything in the universe is vibration. Every planet, every star, every single living thing emits its own unique frequency. Together, they form a grand cosmic symphony known as the music of the spheres. He believed the universe wasn't just created by a divine architect, it was literally sung into existence. What's incredible is that modern physics is now catching up. We talk about resonance, vibrational energy, and frequency fields. Pythagoras was teaching this exact concept 2,500 years ago, not with supercomputers, but with pure intuition and spiritual insight. To Pythagoras, numbers weren't just cold, hard symbols for counting. He saw them as living forces, as divine energies that actively shaped reality. The number 1 represented unity, the single source of all creation. 2 represented duality, light and dark, male and female, the dance of opposites. 3 was the number of harmony, the resolution of conflict. 4 symbolized matter and the physical world. 7 was the number of spiritual perfection. These weren't just superstitions. They were the building blocks of Pythagorean numerology, a system so profound that it went on to influence Jewish Kabbalah, Christian mysticism, Islamic Sufism, Masonic teachings, and even Renaissance alchemy. His numbers didn't just count things, they helped shape entire spiritual systems for centuries to come. The most sacred symbol in Pythagoras' school wasn't a complex equation, but a simple triangle made of 10 dots, called the Tetractys. This symbol was everything. It represented the structure of the universe, the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water, the mathematical harmony of music, the geometry of reality, and the balance between spiritual dimensions. Students were required to swear their most solemn oaths by it. It was considered so powerful that the Brotherhood believed the Tetractys contains the source and root of eternal nature. In other words, it was a map of creation itself. Some modern researchers even speculate that the Tetractys encoded early forms of quantum principles, string theory, and the laws of sacred geometry. Long before Eastern teachings became popular in the West, Pythagoras was teaching the concept of reincarnation. He even claimed that he could vividly remember 4 of his own past lives. For him, Earth wasn't a destination, it was a school. Every lifetime was another classroom, another lesson to be learned. He taught that the soul is temporarily imprisoned in the body, and only through acquiring knowledge and wisdom can it finally escape and return to its divine source. This revolutionary idea deeply influenced later Greek thinkers like Plato and Socrates, and through them, the entire foundation of Western philosophical tradition. Pythagoras didn't just run a school, he founded a secret society called the Pythagorean Brotherhood. This was a true spiritual community. Its members lived together, followed strict vegetarian diets, avoided all forms of violence, and dedicated their lives to studying philosophy, astronomy, and sacred geometry. A huge part of their daily practice involved deep meditation, as they believed the mind could be trained to access higher states of consciousness and perceive hidden realities. Some historians argue that the very structure of the Pythagorean Brotherhood became a blueprint for later influential groups like the Roman mystery schools, the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, and other Hermetic orders. His school was not just a place of learning, it was an initiation into the mysteries of existence. Perhaps one of his most mysterious and controversial teachings was that geometry is the language of God. Not metaphorically, he meant it literally. He taught that different shapes hold inherent power and influence reality. The circle represents the divine perfection and eternity. The triangle represents manifestation, the process of bringing ideas into form. The square represents stability and the material world, and the pentagram, which became the secret symbol of the brotherhood, represented the human soul in perfect balance. It wasn't a symbol for dark magic, but a sign of enlightenment and inner harmony. The idea that shape affects energy is now resurfacing in modern studies like semantics, which shows how sound vibrations create geometric patterns. Pythagoras hinted at all of this thousands of years ago. But such powerful knowledge often attracts fear. The brotherhood became so influential that local political leaders grew afraid of their power. A violent revolt was organized, and the school was burned to the ground. Many of Pythagoras' followers died in the attack, and the surviving members were scattered, forced into hiding. His teachings, once preserved in a tight-knit community, were fragmented. Only small pieces remain today, but those fragments strongly suggest that Pythagoras understood the universe in ways that were far, far ahead of his time. So, who was Pythagoras? A mathematician, yes, of course. But he was also a mystic, a philosopher, a spiritual master, and a scientist of the unseen world. He was a man whose ideas shaped ancient wisdom, modern science, and spiritual traditions across continents and centuries. His real teachings were never meant for the masses. They were reserved for those who dared to seek truth beyond the physical world, beyond what our five senses can tell us. And now, you know them too. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.